Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Secret Cave podcast, where we've got a really fascinating one today. I'm speaking to David Lieberhart, who was probably best known for his work with Tim and Eric, basically across their entire catalogue is popped up. But he's been around since like the 90s or like even earlier, really, with his public access TV show Junior Christian Teaching Bible Lesson Program, which, as anybody who's seen it, is one of the most psychedelic and insane things to have ever been on television, and it makes for a really fascinating watch. And David Lieberhart himself is a really fascinating guy who it's really hard to get a grip on whether he's a character or whether he's really quite an unhinged guy or not, or whether he's somewhere in between. It's really quite fascinating. Not that I want to make the whole thing about that, because of course he is a personality within himself. But this is a really quite crazy episode, in which I don't know if it was because of phone problems or not, but there's a lot of David ignoring me, and there's a lot of David just rambling on about various things. And I still think that is very interesting to people who want to take a look at this guy and maybe learn a little bit more about what he's all about. I mean, to me, who's assessing whether he's a character or not, I've come away from the whole thing probably more confused than I was at first, but I still think it makes for a fascinating listen, and it was an honour to speak to him after all the work that he's done and all the fame he's accrued, really. It really was great to speak to him. Personally, though, I would say that if you don't really know who David is, and if you aren't really aware of his work, that you should probably go away and check him out before coming back to listen to this, because otherwise you probably won't even have the slightest of a clue what's going on. But there's all sorts of things. I'll actually be writing an article about David's personality, so hopefully that'll be out at the same time as this podcast, and that can help anybody get to grips with who he is before getting into this. But I think most people clicking on this are probably well aware of who David Lieberhart is, so let's just get into it and have my conversation with him.
Hello?
Hello there, David. Hello there.
Yeah, where are you from, Australia?
I'm from England, actually.
Oh, I just wanted to... I'm kind of been having some people not do me right lately.
What's
I
that,
want
sorry?
to have that put in the interview. I've had some rough times lately.
Oh,
I want
really?
to put it in the, like when I traveled to... the first 2 times I had a wonderful time in Australia. The last time was a sour lemon. Because there was a guy that didn't even want to sit by me on the airlines. The airplane, they took us off and on the New Zealand Airlines, and they put us on a smaller plane. And then this chap didn't want to sit with me because I was the only African American on the plane.
That's a shame that
I
people
thought
like
that
that
was
still
great.
exist.
He says, I'm like Donald Trump. I don't like chocolate, and I don't like blacks. And when I went to get the airplane stewardess to correct, this is New Zealand Airlines, and I thought that the foreigners would be more liberal and not racist like American whites. The airplane stewardess took up on the chap that was disrespectful to me, who told me he didn't want me to sit by him, and when I told him that we should respect his elders, he told me to shut the F up. And he was like the white supremacist in America. He had no respect for Americans. Then sadly, the airplane stewardess took up on his side. And then Jonah said, well, you shouldn't have reacted to him because he was a kid. And then they called the police on me and wanted to throw me off the airplane instead of talking to the guy on New Zealand Airlines.
Wow, that's
and when
incredible.
I told them that there's people that there's still a lot of racism is on the rise against minorities, ever since we got a new president, I know what it is. Racism is just rearing its ugly head everywhere. I also, the guy on my birth, this guy named Daniel, I recorded a video for in Australia. And then I recorded doing his original punk music for him and writing songs for him,
Right.
playing 5 different instruments he had on the internet from Perth, Australia. He's a famous he came and got me and Jonah from the airlines. Jonah only has a laptop that has all our music on the laptop and 2 luggages. Then this chap lied and said that he couldn't drive us to the airport going back because he didn't have room in his big van. He had room to bring us from the airport. They didn't want to bring us back. He thought that was funny. But prior to that same day, I recorded a 30-minute PSA advertising where he was playing in Singapore and Australia and China. And that's how he thanked me, this guy named Daniel.
And this is down in Australia?
Yeah, that's in Australia. So I want to come to England to tour. My sister is in Frankfurt, Germany. I want to see her. She's married to a woman named Uta. That's a Christian Science nurse, and she's my older sister, and she lives in Germany. And my family's part German and English and French and Scandinavian and African American and American Indian. And I'd like to see my to go there I'd like to tour, but I'm having some issues. Jonah is a very talented guy, and I'm very happy for the work he's done with me, but I don't think it's fair that he's selfish, not wanting to drive me to places that I need to go. Last night, since I don't have we lost money on the last 2 tours, I just needed a ride to my street entertaining, and he refused to do it. And at the Hollywood Bowl, I usually make $300 a night. So I was very disappointed after working all day with Jonah that he refused to drive me to the Hollywood Bowl to do busting to make money.
Well, yeah, that's just rude.
So I lost $300 last night because of his lack of cooperation. And I told him, people that work together in the music industry should be like a family, helping each other. So I was deeply disappointed at him not wanting to drive me. And it's a nightmare going on public transportation in Los Angeles. The homeless people are sleeping on the trains and the buses. They don't want to better themselves and go to a place where they can get help. There's help that they can get. The Salvation Army. PATH is an organization that gives homeless people a place to stay and to get rehabilitated off of drugs. They don't want to help themselves. Many of them don't lack the discipline to want to get up on time or to look for work, or they lack discipline. Like James Squall fell in love with a homeless woman named Susan Yurku.
Oh, really?
She's in the Bahamas now, and when James Squall Association brings assimilation, Georgia, he started hanging around this woman that he married, and she brought him down, and then he was homeless. He became homeless. I fed him, gave him clothes, bought him tents all the time he was homeless, and finally Clark Rankers, the casting director of Absolutely Production, and I teamed up together and I got him an apartment where he's been in ever since. And Clark Rankers had me to sign a paper that I only helped him once. I helped him for 3 years, and my Chase account, Bank of America account, shows where I gave and helped out James Squall with well over $1,080. He never even said thank you once to me for helping him out, as well as helping him get on the show as a famous comedian. So I just have to. I know Jonah likes me to keep everything positive, but everything in life is not sunny skies. We have to go through storms. We have to have trials and self-denials.
This is true.
And everything is not always sunny skies. And also, my railroad museum, I belong to several railroad museums in the United States. I'm a big train buff. And the railroad museum saw my train album on the internet, and that I did with Adam Papagat, and wanted me to, and had a band for me to do all the music that I wrote about trains. They were supposed to pay me a round-trip ticket from Chicago. I went to the museum in Chicago, to the museum in Pennsylvania, and they did pay my round-trip ticket. They only paid one way. And so I had to pay $900 getting back to Los Angeles from Pennsylvania, and that was a trip to hell. When I was in when the trains traveled through Naperville, Illinois, the conductor got shot by a crazy passenger,
And killed?
and you could see that all on the news because they interviewed me on the news and made everybody get off the train for 5 hours.
Oh, yeah, I did actually see this.
Where I was in the interview. I was going to be booked to a bus to Chicago. They made everybody get on the train, and then when I got to I missed my connection. Amtrak is cheap. Amtrak, and then there was a sassy, disrespectful ghetto black girl. When I asked her directions how to get on the next train, she cursed me out, called the police on me, said she had no respect for her own black kind. This ghetto black lady that was working for Amtrak, and Amtrak should have fired her. Because that's no way to treat a person after they already had a bad experience on Amtrak.
No, it sounds like you've been going through some serious trials lately.
A whole bunch of people called me from Australia. Oh, we're going to come and support your shows. They called me night and day. We love you on the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job. And check it out with Dr. Steve Brule. They were like these phony Tonys that are in these born-again Christian churches talking about being saved and then ripping off the public for millions of dollars. With their brainwashing and mind control, like the Church of Scientology.
That's true.
And they lied and said to me, "Oh, guess what? We're all going to come to your show." And then this really hurt me. It was the hippies. The hippies. My cousin Linda McKinnon on my Caucasian side that was married to Winfred Platinum. They both were hippies. I thought hippies were so liberal. All the hippies and their kids called and said they were going to show up at the show. We went way up in the mountains and to do a show from the suburban area of Bristol. Nobody showed up at the show. And then to make matters worse, the guy in his said he wanted me to sign a whole bunch of autographed pictures to sell in his weed shop. He didn't even say hello or boo-hoo or nothing to me.
Right.
And he's so liberal, and he's for equal rights for blacks and all people. And then a lot of people like these Christians that say they're saved and have Jesus as their heart, and then these same people belong to the Ku Klux Klan and neo-Nazi organization. I had several fans show me DVDs and CDs of their parents in all Protestant churches and Catholic churches talking about being born again and saved, and then they're the same parents that are pastors are in the Ku Klux Klan and neo-Nazi organization, how they hate blacks and how they hate Obama. And the Bible says you can't serve two masters. You can't serve hate and love. You can't serve God and Mammoth. And see, this is the reason why young people don't want to have anything to do with organized religion, is because the people that run the churches don't practice what they preach.
Yeah, there's a lot of hypocrites.
America has not overcame the sickness of bigotry and racism and unfairness in our country. It is still that. And when they do hire blacks, they hire the most uneducated blacks that have just came out of the ghetto, that are drug addicts, that are bad examples for blacks. They push them all in the public space. The intelligent blacks that have been to school and that are refined, they don't show us doing anything.
Right.
And now, in all the black producers in Hollywood, they don't want to produce any shows showing blacks in an intelligent light, only in an ignorant ghetto light. They'll always keep blacks ignorant and in the dark and uneducated. Because even the black producers don't want to. I tried to get on BATV, and they said, "Well, you ain't black enough. You know," and they don't want to produce any intelligent blacks like the Cosby Show that used to be. All this ghetto ignorant stuff, and nobody's going to respect or like blacks when they see blacks just push blacks that are drug addicts and prostitutes and negative and con artists. That's the only kind of image they seem to push on TV. I can't watch a black show. I have to turn off the TV because it just shows blacks being just as ignorant as Amos and Andy. Even the news shows.
Well, that's
like
all the media.
Out of nowhere in the entertainment business.
That's true.
It's a disgrace.
There's too much politics in the entertainment business now. It's being paid for by the wrong people.
Yeah, well, the entertainment also they have the casting directors have a one-track mind. They give everything to the same actors that are in the same clique.
Right.
Yeah, and that's not fair. Even it's happening with I get very little work for Tim and Eric. I'm grateful for all the work Tim and Eric have done for me, but now they just use me like salt on a meal. They use me once a year only. And I used to work for Tim and Eric 7 days a week, and now I'm like salt on their meal. They only use me once a year, and I have bills to pay. I can't pay my bills with just working once or twice a year, and half the time I'm on unemployment looking for work. And now they stopped many of the places from busting. I used to make a lot of money being a buster at La Brea Tar Pits, a big ghetto African-American cop said, well, they don't want you here. You have to leave. And I showed him my permit. He said, I still have to leave. Now, this isn't fair. He let the Latino guy stay there that's selling fruit at La Brea Tar Pits, the county museum. I wrote Thomas Rickley, who's African American like me. I mailed him a copy of my permit, and which I had to pay $400 for, and he never wrote me back. And then David White, who's African American like me, who's president of Screen Actors Guild, who's vice president of Screen Actors Guild, never wrote me back like he didn't give a damn. Never contacted me back about my concerns. Now he has power that he could talk to and then he called me up. Oh, we want you to work the strike at La Brea Tar Pits. I said I can't go there. I've been banned from there because I used to be a street musician there. He didn't even return my phone calls, and I paid my dues on time to Screen Actors Guild. It's called SAG-AFTRA. They joined the unions together. When Ken Howard was president of Screen Actors Guild before he died, he always returned people's phone calls. He was always courteous to people. So was Ed Astor, who I worked the strike with. But the new people that are in the union don't care. They treat the people pretty shitty. They don't return their phone calls. And this actor's son, it was a joke. I donated when I was working full time on Tim and Eric. I donated thousands of dollars to the Actors Fund, to the Christian Science Principle Foundation that's supposed to help Christian scientists out in need. And they only help you once. They say we can only help you one time in a lifetime. The Christian Science Church inherited the Smucker Jelly Company. They're rolling in money.
Right.
One thing I can say positive, that the Christian Science teachings have protected me from drugs and alcohol. When I see what happened to Robin Williams, who killed himself and was and overdosed on drugs all the time, Christian Science did protect me from bad elements in Hollywood, which I'm grateful for. But I wish they would be healed. I wish the members of the church. I got a bizarre phone call. I had class instruction in Christian Science. I've been a member of multiple branch churches, and I'm a member of the Mother Church since the 70s. This white guy called me up. You, bloody, are not a member of the Christian Science Church. We would never have Negroes as a member of the Christian Science Church. And screamed at me, you're not a member, you're not a member. We don't have Negroes. I said, that's a lie.
Well, it sounds like he must have just been pranking you.
I got that phone call, and I found out it was from a Christian Science practitioner that was still racist against African Americans, being in Christian Science.
And he's just taken it out on you.
Yeah, he was just terribly. So I just would advise people to study religion on their own. Doris Day told me she doesn't go to church anymore, and she's a Christian Scientist. She just reads her lesson at home because she says of all the corruption and the politics and organized religion. And she told me she told me to know I'm success in action and know that I'm a winner, not a loser, and to keep on trying and don't give up on my acting dreams. And she's given me positive inspiration to keep on pursuing my acting career and through the storms of rejection and unfairness.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you should hold on to that through all of.
I am. I work with that affirmation every day that I'm success in action and visualize myself being on TV shows, and I still mail out my pictures and resumes and still out there trying.
Are you not actually going on tour with Tim and Eric soon as well?
on tour. I haven't been on tour with Tim and Eric in 5 years. I'm not supposed to say it. They're thinking about.
Okay.
Him having a lot of financial challenges lately because we lost money on the tour to Australia. We lost so much money touring in Australia that I couldn't buy the things I like model trains, and I'm a big train collector. I couldn't buy any trains. I couldn't buy anything that I like. Then I had the weirdest thing when I was in New Zealand on my birthday. This guy said, "I'm going to buy you a big cake for your birthday."
Right.
And all he bought me was a tiny brownie. And then the lady, I told the lady, well, I'd like to at least get a big brownie. This Asian woman cut the brownie in half and gave me the most tiniest brownie that she could give me. And I told the guy, this isn't right. He said, well, you should be grateful for what anybody gives you. I said, this is my birthday. This is a special day. He didn't care.
Yeah, you can have brownie any day.
Yeah, he didn't care, but this is pretty smashing rude the way I was done.
Yeah.
So I must say, and then the guy that cheated me out of paying me in Australia, he showed up at Tasmania with and saying, well, he wasn't going to pay me the money anyway, and what was I going to do about it? So I didn't want to get into a confrontation with him, so I walked from the booth and went back into the green room until he had left.
Right.
It sounds like everyone's been rude to you. The guy that cheated on my cousin came with his two sons from his past marriage and said that he was now living off of a real estate lady in Tasmania and just using her. And he used my cousin, and I that was a nightmare. Even though a lot of people attended in Tasmania, I met some enemies I didn't want to talk to. It's cruel. There's a lot of cruel people out here. People are not like I used to like that new Mike Tyson TV show, but now I don't like it because it showed Mike Tyson in a cartoon slapping and knocking a senior citizen off the elevator.
Right.
That is disrespectful. I was taught to respect my elders, and that's not showing a good example for kids growing up. And then another thing I don't like, I quit watching American Dad, and I used to like that show. It showed the principal, this African American on American Dad, beating up on kids, and then having sex with them, and then going in the hospital where they're all after he beat them up, and then roughing them up some more. And that is not a good example to show for children. American Dad, and I quit watching American Dad and Family Guy because they're so foul and rude and set a bad example for kids growing up, as well as South Park.
But at the same time, they're not for children.
They're still, it's not a positive signal they're sending out to the public, because so many people. I used to be a school teacher, and my dad and mom were school teachers, and that's a lot of school teachers are already getting sued and put in jail for molesting and attacking kids.
Right, I see what you're saying.
And it's just not a good example. What the cartoons, and then some of the cartoons are racist against Latinos and African Americans. I have this really fat Hispanic maid on there, which is showing Latinos in a very disrespectful way, and on American Dad, on Family Guy. So I used to like those shows, but I don't anymore because they're sending out bad signals to the public.
Right. So what are you watching at the moment?
So I'm hoping. The good thing is I'm coming out with a record, and MTV Records said I didn't have to sign with them, but Jonah signed with them. They said I didn't have to sign with them. I hope I don't get ripped off like I did with Evil Records with Adam Pop again. But they are signing I'm coming out with a record in September, and it's a very good album about eating fruit and staying healthy. And it's like my astronaut album, talking about extraterrestrials and eating properly and staying healthy and staying away from sugar and stuff that's not good for you. So
I was interested in the whole extraterrestrial thing because I love UFO stories and things like that, and I
Well,
actually,
they're UFO. Well, I'll tell you, UFOs. Their UFOs are real, and this is where we got all our back engineering technology. When I was abducted in Park Forest, Illinois, in 1968, Colonel Wendell Stevenson, I was introduced to from my Sunday school teacher, Ruth Elizabeth Jinks. Colonel Wendell Stevenson was a Christian Scientist. He was retired from the Air Force, and he investigated on the UFO phenomenon, and he did a lot of work for the government. And I met him in 1968 after I was abducted and operated on. And I told him my story, what happened to me in Park Forest, Illinois, when my parents lived at 117 Westwood Drive in Park Forest, Illinois. Unfortunately, my greedy family sold that home and enforced my writings, and I got nothing from that home. And I was supposed to inherit that home. I sent money to help my parents pay the mortgage on that home.
right,
And my sisters, after my mom and dad died, sold the home behind my back with my uncle Danny, which was unfair.
right,
So they put him on the estate and the will, and took me off. My younger sisters did that, which was pretty cold.
mm,
I took care of my cousin Phyllis McKinnon on my Caucasian side for 15 years, did all the gardening and yard work, and took care of her while she got sick, and visited her when she was put in the rest home. And I was supposed to inherit one of those 8 buildings, and I got nothing.
right.
So I've been that's number 2 being cheated out of inheritance
But how did this end
from my
up in
mom and dad,
UFOs?
from her. So it's just one of those things. But anyway, I'm excited about the tour with Tim and Eric. It's going to be in July. I'm excited about the new record I have coming out in September. I'm with the Jonah Motion books me for the music, and Jack Scanati books me with the acting work. But I've had to. After his dad died, he opened up a bicycle shop fixing people's bicycle, and he moved his dad's talent agency upstairs instead of downstairs. And I have to get stationery and his stickers to mail out my own resumes to try to get the acting work in his. And I'm also constantly trying to find, either if I can't find work, I've tried to make my own work. I'm still at the Hollywood Bowl and the Music Center as a street musician. I bought a permit to sell my portrait sketches at La Brea Tar Pits, but they've banned me from being selling my portraits there. We're supposed to have freedom of speech in America, and we don't. You buy a business permit and you try to sell something on the street. If you're a white or black American, they'll stop you. But if you're Hispanic and you don't speak English, they'll walk by you and not do anything. They got thousands of Hispanics, people selling hot dogs and stuff on the street, and they're not even American citizens. But someone that's American citizen that sells anything on the street, they're stopped right away. So it just doesn't make any sense.
That's true. But David,
And
you never did tell me a
I'm
UFO
hoping
story.
someday. Jonah doesn't understand that bills still have to be paid, and I'm not making enough money from my music and my acting, and I have to supplement my income being a buster as a street musician, because Tim and Eric don't use me a lot like they used to.
Well, they've
So
got a lot
that's
of new
why
projects on the go.
Huh?
They've got a lot of different new projects on the go. No?
Yeah, everything's real slow. They usually see the problem we're having in Hollywood. If the casting directors and the producers have a one-track mind, everything is Morgan Freeman or Tom Cruise. You look at the movies yourself, like they're the only actors that existed on the planet of the Earth. I like Tom Cruise. He's very talented. I like Will Smith. He's very talented. But you don't. But I pay my Screen Actors Guild dues just like they do, and I should be getting. They should divide it up equally. They should have a variety of actors and musicians doing things, not the same ones over and over and over again. You turn on the TV, go to the movies. Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise. Morgan Freeman. You know, there's no creativity. It's just the same people, and then all the movies about violence and killing. They need to make more movies about romance and love and about life itself, not about violence and killing. Everything. And somebody's got to, when you look at a movie, somebody's got a gun in their hand, wanting to blow somebody around. This is a bad example. This is why why violence is so bad in the school. And then the rap music, the messages that are in the rap music are horrible. I used to be a school teacher. All the rap music teaches people to have no respect for their parents, no respect for the law, no respect for women, calling them bitches or whores. It is so bad. And then these studs are pushing all this rap garbage, and rap artists are killing each other. I mean, it's gangster bullshit. Excuse my language. They need to write positive rap, teaching kids to stay in school and to get a good education, work out in the gym, and to get in sports, get in things that are positive. But everything is a MF, this, that, and all that my dad did working with Dick Gregory and Martin Luther King and positive images that the civil rights movement tried to do for the black community, it's all down the drain because they look up at the drug addicts and the thugs instead of the positive people that are trying to make America great. We have no positive leadership qualities in America, which is, as my grandmother Schroeder would say, it's a scandal and a shame.
Well, we've got a very similar situation in England.
Role models for our youth, and we don't. And I told this to Hollywood, but they don't listen. They do what they do, the same thing over and over again. And then they're using the computers to control the people's minds to think and say and do be robots instead of they want to make people robots and sheep instead of leaders. Our society produces sheep instead of leaders, which is sad.
Well, as I've said, we've got the exact same problem going on in England right now, really.
Oh, well, they won't let anybody. It is sad. It is sad.
Well, we've got an election coming up, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I hope that I just feel that we should go back, I hate to say it, to kings and queens, because doing things democratically always seems to work out corruptly. No matter who you vote for, and doing things democratically, basically the Christian Science Church, they vote on everything in the church democratically, and the wrong people get on the board. This is the problem we've had at the Christian Science Church. Our church is infiltrated by people that are not Christian Science, and they influence the people to sell the churches and to give up and close the reading rooms instead of keeping them open to the public. And then like this guy, my cousin Phyllis McKinnon, was a member of Fifth Church Christ Scientists in Hollywood. That church got infiltrated by people that didn't like Christian Science, and my cousin Phyllis McKinnon told me so. And my distant cousin Scott Rexinger, that worked for the FBI, found out that the Christian Science Church was infiltrated by communists and atheists and people that hated Christian Science and born again Christians, and they infiltrated the church and got the Christian Scientists to fight among each other, and then they talked them into selling the churches. We lost beautiful buildings we owned all over the United States. The Christian Science Church had beautiful churches that were built like castles, and they're all empty, and they're all born again Christian churches that bought them now, and the good people that love Christian Science and care about Christian Science, they persecute and mistreat. Like Jim Henson had me to take his puppet collection, and so did the guy that did the Friendly Giant, and Bert Stilson did the Kukla for an Alley. We want you to do a puppet show teaching kids Bible stories and saying other drugs, and where they can go to an after-school program. I did the show for 30 years. I faced nothing but racism from Dorothy Estes, from Jane Dallin. Well, we don't want you doing the show because you're not purely Caucasian. You got to be Caucasian to represent Christian Science. Yeah, and the show is not authorized from the mother church. It needs to be stamped and approved by the mother church, and the mother church doesn't want to put minorities all of the, with the new hymnal, they don't have any minorities in the first hymnal and the second hymnal. They only let white people produce music for the New Christian Science hymnal or produce records for the mother church. And there's now, I was in Jack Hubbell's association, and there was thousands of Africans that were talented musicians, people from Mexico and Japan and China that were Christian Scientists that were talented musicians, and they would not, at all their submissions, Ann White, who is from England, put together the New Christian Science first supplement and second supplement. She said, this is the most weirdest thing. Now, I respect the Masons because they do a lot of good work. My great-grandfather was a Mason, and they do a lot of good Shriners to help kids go to school. But on the other end, there's people that are Masons that are misusing their power, such as she told me, well, you have to be a Job Star or a Mason to have music in the New Christian Science. No, you have to be white. I said, well, excuse me, my grandfather was a Mason, and he was a wonderful man, and he helped feed the people during the Depression. And there's a lot of positive Masons that help get kids so they can go to the Shriner Hospital. So, but there's good and bad in every organization.
That's true. I mean, as far as I know, Masonry was involved in a lot of like mind control, Illuminati type stuff themselves.
Well, I just want to keep it on a positive note. There were good Masons in my family that were 30-degree Masons. My great-grandfather was a 30-degree Mason in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he did a lot of good work with his power. He's passed on, but he did a lot of positive things for Erie, Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh. He's well, anyway. So since the Christian Science and the ELCA Lutheran Church and the Missouri Synod Lutheran Church denied my music, the positive thing is GIA Publishing Company, through One Licensing, publishes and uses my music in the Catholic Circle. The positive thing is CCLI, Christian Copyright Licensing, it uses my music in mega churches all over the United States. I don't get paid much for my songs. Like I'll get for religious, they pay very small for religious songs. If I get the mostly is $80 for my music being used nationally with CCLI, and then GIA Publishing Company pays me more, $200, and then I as an ASCAP songwriter and a publisher for my music being on the internet, I've been getting checks for $100 or $80. Songwriters and musicians don't get the credit or the recognition they deserve.
No, that I can agree with, definitely, because I'm a songwriter myself. So yeah.
And then and what I did when I was touring with Jonah, I dropped off all my CDs at all the colleges, and all my and all the nightclubs I played at, and the college campuses I played at, and I got the college radio stations to play my music. Oh, Jonah said, "Oh, you don't have to do that. You're not going to get paid anything anyway." So,
well, I mean, you're always on the lookout for money, though, aren't you?
Well, he doesn't know I helped him and Adam Papagan get royalty money, even though it wasn't much. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, it definitely does.
I believe in trying and working hard, and doing the best I can do.
And how do you feel with it? Does it feel like the whole world is crumbling around you at the moment from the sounds?
Oh, it is. That's why I wanted Jonah to drive me to, Jonah got this beautiful new car for making money with touring with me.
Right. Okay.
And he's got a brand new car, and I told him, if I had a car and someone was in business with me, I wouldn't hesitate to give them a ride wherever they go, because I tried to take the bus and the train to go down and work at the Hollywood Bowl as a street musician, and I'm making good money down there. I'm making $300 a night as a buster, and he was too trifling lazy. He said, "Oh, I don't want to drive you. It's your problem, not mine." And he says, "I'm going to start charging you for driving in my new car." That is disrespectful. I feel, and I'm pretty disappointed in him. because he had me to come over where he's house sitting in someone in West Hollywood. He had me to record a new album with him. He asked me to do a whole bunch of artwork. I'm not getting any of the money from that because he says he has to make money to sell T-shirts online and make copies of the CDs to sell online. I still feel I should get the labor's worthy of his hire. He had me do paintings for him to sell online. I need to get some of that money to pay my bills. And then he says, well, I don't want you being a street musician. It makes your image look bad. And then him and same thing with Tim and Eric. I don't want you performing on the street because it makes your image look bad. And then I turn around and they have the power that they could pay me and get me more work. But they don't want to.
Well,
so,
what kind of work?
And I still have to survive and pay my bills. I don't want to become homeless. I have to keep the money coming in.
Yeah, of course.
And Jonah doesn't understand, and Tim and Eric don't understand. He just prevented me last night from making $300 because he was too lazy to drive me to the Hollywood Bowl last night.
Which is unfair, but as far as Tim and Eric goes,
it's unfair. And then when a person came up, because now because I wanted to go to the 99-cent store and buy some groceries I needed. I told him I can't do that. He didn't care.
Right.
He didn't care. So, and when the Actors Fund, I donated thousands and thousands of dollars to the Actors Fund, and I asked them recently, can I get some extra money to help me pay my bills? And they told me, no, we only help a person out one time in a lifetime. One time in a lifetime.
You make it sound like we're in the end times.
The Actors Fund told me, and that's pretty cheap. Well, the Christian Science Church is the same way. The Principal Foundation, we only help a person out one time. I donated thousands and thousands of dollars to the Christian Science Principal Foundation, and they told me we can't help you out with a bloody penny. We've already helped you out one time when your wife threw you out in the street with nowhere to go. And they got millionaires running that church.
Well, you're right in what you said earlier. It's exactly that kind of thing.
The problem why we have the homeless is because we have the selfish. People that have money don't want to share things out equally, and the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Yeah.
There's no balance.
I couldn't agree with that
more.
I
want to work. I was taught to work all my life. When I was growing up in the 50s, I had a paper route. I worked at the grocery store. My dad had a landscaping business and a snow removing business that I worked for as a kid. I work all my life. That's the way I was taught. Dignity and respect to work. But they're people that don't. Well, they have, and this is sad in America. It's the same problem that they're having in Germany of hiring all the Turkey people. We're having the same problem in America. They hire all the Hispanics that they can pay cheaper, and then a lot of whites and blacks are out of work. A lot of whites and blacks are sleeping in their car. It's because they can't afford to pay the monster rent. And then they don't. Many of them are on unemployment, on welfare, because the system stinks and it's unfair.
Oh, yeah. Politicians are really making a mess of it all over the world at the moment.
I know they are. They just care about the rich, not the poor.
I can imagine you was completely mortified when Donald Trump got in.
Well, the only thing I like about Donald Trump, he cares about veterans, and he wants to stop ISIS, and he wants to make America great. I agree with him in those things, and he's a good businessman. I don't want to speak against someone that's in power because people, there used to be a show called in America that my cousin Linda McKinnon used to work on called The Smothers Brothers, and Steve Martin was the producer of it. They started speaking against Nixon and other people and Johnson that were in office. They cut the show off.
Ah, you're right. There is that kind of thing.
A very liberal show. And the Smothers Brothers you don't see on TV. Pat Paulson died on it, the show, but they had a lot of political right things they were saying on the show. But the Republicans did not like the Smothers Brothers and people speaking out liberal. And they silenced them. They didn't like Joan Baez either.
And the old McCarthy witch hunts and all of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They cut all that out. They don't want anybody. They don't want, like I say, our world doesn't want leaders. They want followers. They want everybody to be sheep, not leaders.
Yeah.
They have no positive role models for our kids. All they push is this punk, this rap bullshit that shows no respect for themselves or women. It's terrible.
Well, that I can't quite agree with, because I mean I listen to a lot of rap myself, and I
like
definitely respect
but the rap music from America, calling women bitches and whores, that's disrespectful.
Oh yeah, no, I would never call them that.
Killing. Chicago is a mess.
Well, of course, I've not seen Chicago.
That listen to rap music in Chicago are killing everybody up in Chicago. It's not even safe to walk the streets in Chicago. My dad used to be a school teacher in Chicago. I used to help him mark papers. You can't go down the street without being shot at or stabbed in the back.
And is rap not
members of my family killed because of ghetto people that are on drugs and listen to rap music. Rap music is good, but they need to make positive messages. They need to rap about teaching kids to stay in school and get off of drugs. And positive rap music teach kids to work out in the gym, teach kids to eat right, think right, and be right. They need to make positive messages in rap music, not this destructive stuff. John Motion loves rap music, you know, and he plays all this vulgar, gross stuff that's disrespectful to women. And then he wonders why he can't get a girl when you listen to a rap song calling a woman a whore or a bitch. That's disrespectful.
Oh, it's very disrespectful, I agree.
That guy that was on the airplane that didn't want to sit by me on New Zealand Airlines, he was polluted by racism and biasness. The same thing and destructive thinking. We need positive role models for our kids and for people in general. All this killing and violence in the movies and in the rap music. Movies, I love all kinds of art and music. I wrote a song called I'm an Artist and Creator. I create art. I create it from the heart. I wrote the song first with Adam Papagan on the Public Access album, and then I wrote another version that's on the Go Into the Light album. Art is beautiful. Art is wonderful. Music and art and paintings. It's like a gun. A gun is good for hunting and a knife for cutting things. But when you use it to stab and kill somebody, then it's bad. Then it's wrong.
I understand what you're saying, but can art be confrontational at times?
And the rap artists, you go and listen to the police programs in America. Many of these rap artists are in trouble for killing their fans, running over their fans, fighting with other rappers for territory.
Yeah.
And this has been, it's teaching people to be gangsters, lie, cheating, dishonest gangsters.
But you see, I always thought it's an expression of where
now,
they're
at. Get this. I'm not prejudiced against people that are gay. I love Ellen DeGeneres, to each his own. My sister's gay. I love her as a child of God. But they push a lot of gayness in the rap music as well.
Really? Well.
Oh, listen to them. Talks about oral sex. Talk about screwing another guy in the ass. That's gay. And it's all in a lot of the rap songs.
Well, I don't think it's supposed to be
another
gay.
Sad thing in America, I'm not prejudiced. I'm very liberal since I'm biracial and I'm part African American and white and American Indian. I want to see equality for all people.
Mm-hmm.
And people, I'm not prejudiced against people that are gay or lesbians. I feel that they should be treated equally as God's children too. And we should have tolerance for things that we don't understand.
Well, again, I completely
I'm a very
agree
liberal
with you.
person.
But then you've got an issue with this gay
racism
stuff.
is why we have wars because of racism. And I don't agree with communism or people that are atheists because I believe in the power of God and the power of good. But one atheist guy said more wars have been done over organized religion, and I have to agree with him. It's all in the Bible. There have been wars over religion. So there's been greed, the rich and the poor. So, and I agree with Jesus studied Hinduism and Buddhism. They took those books out of the Bible, the pseudepigrapher, because they didn't want people to see the whole picture of things. They talked about aliens and UFOs and the Bible, but the canon, the Catholic and the Jewish synagogue and the Protestants got together and they said, well, we don't want the Book of Enoch in the Bible because it talked about Enoch being taught trigonometry and algebra by aliens. We don't want, and they rewrote the beginning of Genesis. The real story, I saw the real Aramaic and Hebrew book of Genesis is when man started killing and eating animals, not a tree of good and evil. And Jesus was born in the spring, not in the winter. And the real Sunday, at the beginning of the Sabbath was on Saturday, not on Sunday. The Catholic Church changed that.
Could it be at all possible that God is an alien?
Yes, they talk about it in the pseudepigrapher. How even if you get the Dead Sea Scrolls, they talked about how aliens taught our aristocracy. Our aristocracy were taught by aliens. Our aristocracy, our English and German aristocracy, would go to aliens for information on how to rule countries and places. And the aliens gave the aristocracy the toilet.
Right.
The toilet. The sink. That at one time only, I'm part aristocracy too. I'm part Scotch and German aristocracy and African American. So I'm mixed like Obama. The McKinnons, Rexingers, Kaisers, and Brants, and those are and Campbells, and my family are all aristocracy. I have aristocracy roots in me.
And so you're saying aliens, when they came down, they brought with them modern plumbing?
They taught people for years. They taught the Romans that big thing, that big cement thing that the Romans built the Catholic Church on. That was the Omegans' launching pad. The Irish are a descendant of a race called the Omegans. They're from Star Caladan. They're very powerful extraterrestrials in outer space. The Swedish and Norwegians are not originally from our planet Earth. They come from the Palladians,
right?
The Nordic people. They used to not be one. The English, and I'll be honest with you about this. The English originally came from the Africans because the Africans threw the English people out of their tribes because they were albino and white, and they all settled in England.
I feel that rhythm in me.
They all settled in England. So the whites originally came from the blacks. I worked at the DeSable Museum of African American History with Margaret Burroughs, and so I know my black history. And my dad, I come from a family of school teachers. When they stopped being Lutheran and Presbyterian and Quaker Friends and Mennonite ministers, they all became school teachers because they got Christian Science doesn't have pastors. They have first and second readers. They don't have laymen in the Christian Science church. So the people that were in the Christian Science church, that my family got converted to the Christian Science church because in Christian Science in the 1800s and the 1900s, people were being healed without using medicine, through prayer. It was rampant. Christians, in fact, Hollywood was controlled by nothing. 99% of the actors, producers, Charlie Chaplin was Christian Science. All the original actors and actresses were all Christian Scientists. Hollywood used to be controlled by 99% of Christian Scientists, producers, casting directors, and Christian Science Church started dying out. And then the everybody that was in Hollywood is now run by people of the Church of Scientology. They are high up in Christian and the entertainment business now, and the born again Christians. So they're the new the new sheriffs in town. They're the ones that run Hollywood.
Right. But that sounds, you was talking about control and everything earlier on. That sounds quite controlling itself. If it was
Yeah,
99%
so that's
Christian
what I
Science.
get. And all the board of directors and people that run Screen Actors Guild are all into the Church of Scientology. I know they keep on mailing me Scientology literature. I'm not prejudiced against people that are of different religions. Even though I don't understand them or agree with them, I'm not going to say anything negative about them because they are very powerful. I don't believe in saying anything negative about someone that's in power because they have ways of silencing you that you never work again.
That's
So
very true.
I have to get along. I have to get along to. I have to go along to get along. I have to go along to get along.
That positivity that you're so well known for.
So it's just I don't like a lot of things that are done in Christian Science with the unfairness about the new Christian Science hymnal, but there's nothing I can do about it.
No.
Yeah, I don't. This is weird. I went through class instruction with a woman named Symphony Neely. She had children out of wedlock. She had a drug problem. And they let her become a Christian Science teacher because she was a Job's daughter and was friends of Ruth Elizabeth Jenks, who was her teacher.
Right.
And so she could get away with stealing, lying, cheating, doing everything. I paid to go through class instruction with her. She only gave me 1 day of class instruction. I was supposed to have 2 weeks in class instruction for $100. I was supposed to attend an association every year. She excluded me from attending associations. When she passed on, Olga Chaffee, who used to be over the Board of Education of the Christian Science practitioners and teachers, says, well, Symphony Neely is dead. You can visit other associations. So my voice teacher and my music teacher, who used to be the soloist at the Mother Church, her name is Judy Wade. She invited me to go to her association with Ann Stewart. So I went to Ann Stewart's association for 5 years. And then when Ann Stewart became senile and sick and could no longer teach her Christian Science class once a year, then I went to Jack Hubbell's association for 10 years and went to his address every year. And then the bloody lying guy calls, oh, Nick Rosart in Christian Science. He's a liar and the father of it, as Jesus would say, because Christian Scientists have had class instruction that are Christian Science. I've been a member of the Mother Church since the 70s. So that guy was out of line calling me and telling me that.
Oh, definitely. He must have just been getting something out of his system because he's a racist.
Well, probably is. He was pretty good. Racism is very bad. I'll tell you, there was when my cousin Phyllis McKinnon signed my application to join Fifth Church, but Al Parker didn't want any black members of the Christian Science Church, so he punched me in the face in front of all the people, saying he didn't want any ends being members of Fifth Church in Hollywood. And then when my cousin Phyllis McKinnon says, well, he's this African American guy that you refused his membership, he is my cousin, my third cousin. So, and she wasn't liked after that and wasn't treated fairly after that at Fifth Church of Christ Scientists in Hollywood. So, and then this guy got on the board named Kevin, who influenced them to sell Fifth Church in Hollywood. And the Fifth Church, I told them if they rented the church out and instead of selling the church, they would, and I told them they had no music in the church and they welcomed minorities, the Christian Science Church would grow. And they had single groups and things for young people, but they don't want to listen to me. They want to stay doing things the same old way. And this is why the Christian Science churches, more of the churches are closing up and dying. They don't want to overcome their bigotry. They don't want to overcome accepting all people equally. And I told them, like If you don't dig out a lake, it'll become a pond and a meadow. If you
Right.
don't dig out new ideas and put fresh water, the lake has to be dug out and the mud has to be moved because it's going to get shallower and shallower and shallower. And if the lake is not dug out and with new ideas, a dam, and fresh ideas, it'll become a pond, then it'll become a meadow, and then it'll become a forest. And this is what happens to people that don't accept new ideas. They become stagnant,
Yeah.
and they lose everything.
And
Like you say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. There you go.
yeah. And this is why a lot of people are put off Christianity, like you've said before, because a lot of the time they're not providing the best role model either.
They're not, well, you see, I'll tell you this. My family on my German side. Can I put you down? She was calling me. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello,
Hello.
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 Yeah, I'm having problems. This is another problem. I'm having bad girls that want to date me
Right.
that have children out of wedlock and that are on drugs.
Okay.
I felt sorry for this girl at the Christian Science Church that her boyfriend left her with 3 kids, and then she calls me all the time wanting to borrow money off of me. And I told her, I'm not the Bank of America. I can't continually help her and her kids out. That she's going to have to go this because I'm right now. I didn't get paid from. I only made $3,000 from Australia. I put $8,000 in plane fare to Australia and hotel, and and all I got back was $3,000. I lost my shirt going to Australia and New Zealand.
Right. So she's going
And
to have to
then
learn to
the
do it
people
herself.
just didn't appreciate it.
No.
It was
Doesn't
very
sound like it. I
sad.
could imagine you going down quite well in England.
Well, I'd like to go to England. There's an act, I don't know, it's a famous singer in England. Once I've been Jonas having me record a video with, I don't know her name. You'll have to ask Jonah. But Jonah had me to do a love song with a famous singer from England, and her boyfriend didn't like it. And I could see that, and she had me to do a recording of a video there, and we're both not getting paid for any of it.
Right.
But I like to tour in England. I like England a lot. I like English people a lot there. And what I'd like you to get me is I like the Hornby trains in OO scale, which is American called HO scale. So, it might be nice if you could get me some Hornby trains.
Yeah. I
I
know
love trains.
we've got quite a train spotting culture over in England. I do know that much.
Well, my favorite train was your third rail train that ran from Liverpool, the third rail commuter train. I have models of the slam doors that Hornby made, and then Markland made a lot of the commuter trains after that, and then I have the new commuter trains, third rail trains that were made in 1973, the one-decker. Yeah, I have models of those Hornby trains. And then I have a lot of the steam engine trains, and you all call it coaches carriages in England. I have a lot of English carriages as well. But touring with and working and hustling to make a living, I haven't had time to enjoy my model trains.
Yeah, I can imagine actually.
And I have interviews all the time. People are calling me all the time. I took out my Hawaiian punch, and it's all hot now, like a hot cocoa. Because when you called me, I couldn't put it back in the refrigerator, and I had to turn off my stove.
Okay, so thank you for listening, and I hope you could make some kind of sense out of that. I mean, there was a lot of really interesting things in there, and it was great to speak to him. But it was just fascinating to me how he kept speaking over things I was saying and didn't seem to have any real interest in answering the questions. It was fucking hilarious. But I think that maybe I will speak to him again, like he suggested, and we'll maybe try and get a bit deeper down this rabbit hole and see exactly what's going on. So thank you for joining me for this episode, and make sure to check in with the next one where we have Professor Elemental, awesomely influential British rapper, who we've actually already recorded a conversation with. We're just waiting to get it all edited up and put out there. So as usual, thank you for being here, and bye for now.